Greetings loyal subscribers and honoured guests. I started this journey way back in February of 2015, not really thinking that I would eventually have looked at every single power pack, both official and unofficial. Yet here we are at last to look at the third and final new tape assembled by the folks from the Commodore Format blog. Before I get stuck in looking at the 5 full games on offer here, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to anyone who has watched, liked or commented on any of the previous episodes. There were times when I thought about quitting, and it was always the occasional kind remark that spurred me on. That and the fact that it is a lot of fun to make these videos, time consuming though they may be. Anyway, that's enough waffle from me for now. If you want to know what's in store for the future of Covertape Chaos, stick around until the end of the video, but for now let's play some games. We begin with Phase Out, which is a colour matching puzzle game where you will understand what you need to do pretty much straight away. If you move without thinking things through though, it's very easy to put yourself in a situation where it's impossible to complete the level. In these cases you can either wait for the timer to run out or press the escape key to give up. Luckily you are always presented with a password at the beginning of every level, and there's a handy password sheet for you to print out on the CF's blog's tape page. All in all, Phase Out is a solid effort and worth a look if you are into your puzzle games. It may be a bit slow paced and lacking in spectacular action for some. The visuals and the music are decent too, but again won't blow your mind in any way. Worth a try. Next up is Not Even Human Inhumane Edition, described as a frantic 2-player strategy game. Unfortunately, I'm not able to try this one out with another player at the moment, so I'm not really experiencing the best it has to offer. You and your opponent both have an army of little aliens which you can cycle through by pressing the fire button. You will then take direct control over the one that is brighter. By surrounding enemy aliens with multiple aliens of your own kind, you will drain their energy faster and eventually kill them, leaving a skull. These skulls do damage to anything touching them though, so as I discovered, you can't really leave your guys sitting around too long, or they will die themselves. You can also heal your own units by grouping them next to each other, which is a pretty vital tactic. I can definitely see how this would be a lot of fun with another player and how it would get hectic. The music is also incredibly upbeat and funky. I love it. I shall have to try and persuade my brother to give it a try with me on the C64 Mini next time he visits. One of the more interesting and original games to be featured on a power pack, that's for sure. Moving on again, we have Tutti Frutti 64. The original version of this was on the C16 and was created by Sean Southern. This new C64 port was done by Spider Jerusalem. What we have here is an extremely well made arcade style game that plays like a mashup of Dig Dug, Mr. Do, Pac-Man and Pengo. Depending on the level, the gameplay changes. On one stage you may have to collect all of the cherries to succeed, on the next drop all the apples to the ground, and every third stage is very different, where you will be pushing blocks around. Each game type usually also allows you to win by killing all of the enemies on the screen, the Acid Gang. While the graphics are pretty simple, they do invoke the style of games like Dig Dug and Mr. Do perfectly, and that tune that plays will definitely get stuck in your head in no time at all. I had never seen the C16 original before, but it didn't take very long for me to fall in love with Tutti Frutti 64. It's fantastic. Game number 4 is called Assembloids, and this is another great example of easy to learn, hard to master. The idea here is to assemble various faces by pressing the joystick up, down, left or right. You will get a few points just for assembling a complete face out of parts that don't match, but you will earn a lot more if they do all match up with each other. You lose a life if you let the timer run out, or if you try and move a face part into a space that is already occupied. That's pretty much it. The timer will gradually get less and less the further you get into the game, making things very frantic. For such a basic premise, it's surprisingly addictive, and the graphics are also very nicely drawn. I'm not especially keen on the music though, it's a bit repetitive, but it is better than complete silence. This final power pack is definitely becoming a bit of a belter, that's for sure. Our final game is another stone cold classic ported over to the C64. What we have here is Konami's Scramble, the game that later on evolved into the Gradius series. Anyone who has actually played the arcade version of Scramble will feel very comfortable here, as it is extremely close to it in both look and feel. The fire button both shoots and drops bombs at the same time, which means you don't have to worry about pressing the spacebar or another key to manage that separately. The game controls and performs incredibly well all round, and brought back strong feelings of nostalgia for me, as I hadn't actually played Scramble since we used to have a bootleg version on the BBC Micro. It's still a lot of fun to play. The pressure of having to constantly top up your fuel, as well as dodge or shoot all of the enemies at the same time, adds a fun dynamic to the gameplay that gives the game its hook. Stage 4 is a complete bastard though, those fireballs suck. So that brings us to the end of Power Pack 64, and also to the end of Covertape Chaos Commodore Format Edition. The chaps from the blog definitely put a lot of work into making sure this was one of the best Power Packs ever. In my opinion, there isn't a single dud amongst this collection of games. If I had to pick a favourite though, it may just be Tutti Frutti 64, though I do need to spend some more time with Not Even Human. So what's next for this series? Well, I am going to be taking a break until early 2020, but I do intend to bring Covertape Chaos back sometime around early February with a shift in focus to the ZZAP tapes. I also want to give the series a bit of a revamp and redesign, so it'll take a bit of time to work out exactly what I'm going to do with that. I'm also considering putting up longer videos of each game on my second channel, where it'll be me playing them unedited, probably with a microphone on, but I might not do that if it adds too much time to producing these. Once again, thank you for watching these videos. There will be plenty of other things on my channel until the series returns, so please consider watching some of those too. In the meantime, take care.